Mr. Abrar Ahmed Syed. He's an advisor application designer, USA, with expertise in business intelligence, data analytics, cloud data platforms, and artificial intelligence. Today, he will deliver his keynote on future of data and AI in healthcare. So please welcome Mr. Abrar.
Thank you. Can you see my screen? I just want to make sure
Yeah,
before it. Okay,
it's
cool. Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for inviting me for this talk. I'll be talking about how data and AI is changing the future of healthcare in the past few years. I'll give you an example. During the COVID, we were really found out saying that, okay, we are very behind on the healthcare tech. The amount of healthcare need that was rose because of the pandemic. Uh, were not able to satisfied with the tech stack that we had and the infrastructure that we had in the healthcare space. So given that, right, my research on the last few years on the healthcare data and AI has primarily focused on how we can leverage the new tech stack and improve the healthcare in the coming years. Before I get started, there are two concepts I want to make sure I uh, highlight. One is the data in healthcare itself, the variety of data that comes in healthcare. They say data is a new oil. You just have to refine it and use it in a way that AI is beneficial. The other thing is the AI in itself. That two things that comes with AI, one is speed and accuracy. With the cloud computing, quantum computing, and those uh, new generation technologies that we have right now, it's already improving the speed and providing results at a faster rate. But the accuracy is something that we have to improve, and that's where the data comes in and provides the value. Hi, I'm Abrar. I've been in IT industry for more than 15, 16 years now. I've been in BI, AI space, developed multiple data solutions and products. I manage a data analytics team at General Technologies based out of Dallas. So my agenda for today is data and AI. I'll focus how the data is different in healthcare, how AI-driven real-time decision making is making an impact in healthcare, the technologies that we use, the applications that we build, and also the case studies specifically that are being used in the healthcare space, and some of the challenges and ethical concerns that comes with using AI. Right? Like I said, the data in healthcare is diverse, right? It's not just rows and columns like you see in a table or a database. It comes in different forms. It can be a doctor notes in a voice note, or it can be a diagnosis data. It can be billing data. It can be like research data from research centers, or trial data that comes from WHO. Right? The data itself is very uh, diverse and in different formats and different data types. That makes it much more complex for a healthcare uh, solution to be established, right? So the some of the examples that I see on the screen is like how much variety of data that we get in healthcare, and it's really important for us to make sure we use the data in a way that is beneficial. In the beginning of the talk, I mentioned like data is a new oil. You just have to refine it, and AI is the driver for it. Right? Like, and it gives you speed and accuracy, and how we can leverage those. Right? Keeping that concept in mind, right? Especially in healthcare, it's really important for us to make sure our data is set right. And some of these AI agents or data pipeline that are being generated really helps you refine the data before you actually feed the data into any of the LLMs or machine learning models, right? Real-time data processing, AI-powered ETL pipelines. How do you fix the data model on the fly? How do you keep up with the data governance? Right. Data modeling is one example that I want to discuss here is, right, if you get different variety of data in different formats, in different sources, the AI tool or the should be able to discover the data and divide that into different schemas based on the data, and make sure that data is in a usable format to be fed into systems that help you build those AI solutions. Right. One example is, right, uh, during COVID-19, right, as the pandemic hit, right, it was really tough for us to find out, okay, what's the solution, right? Where is the drug coming from, right? And the vaccines were just an experiment that were going through different phases. It took a while for us to find out what exactly vaccine or medicine would work for COVID-19, right? Um, One such institution, Benevolent AI, a UK-based drug discovery company, they found out, okay, um, the symptoms that were for COVID-19, right? If they do the drug discovery for those kind of symptoms, they found out that, okay, there's a drug already available with exactly the same thing, the symptoms that is used for arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, right? So I think it was still in progress. It was research, it was the study was still progress, so they were not able to roll out. But how quickly they were able to find out something like that is a game changer. And eventually they were able to do a lot more research after a few years and roll out this research and work with different companies to provide solutions. Right. So i- in this case, like the speed at which they were able to do the drug discovery was a key game changer. And AI in wearable health tech, we have seen so many smartwatches and different companies rolling out different features with healthcare tech, uh, making the healthcare available just using a device, and the concept of edge intelligence, where the device runs on your personal watch or a phone or an app or a medical device that is embedded in your body, right? Using those devices and wearable health tech, uh, we are able to use and optimize the way the healthcare is provided across the uh, globe, right? In one such scenario was the optical sensors. There are several healthcare tech right now. Apple Watch is kind of leading the market with ECGs, and I read a case study recently where an Apple Watch was able to discover uh, how much early a heart attack or a cardiac arrest was detected using the ECG signals from an Apple Watch. And if you take it further, right, if you integrate that Apple Watch sensors with provider portal and provide connections to the doctors to see that data, right, and send notifications to healthcare professionals, that will be a game changer and avoid the risk of a major fatality, right? We always heard this, right? When you go to a doctor with your elderly patients and who are very sick, right? The doctor used to always say that, okay, I wish you got this patient like 1 hour ago, or like 1 week ago, or like a few months ago, we would have saved him, right? So I think that kind of need to provide the healthcare at the right time in a timely manner is really important. Okay, so the AI is not just the clinical aspect of it. AI is being used in administrative and also management. Um, One example that I wanted to give in the coming slides is, right, is about the bed availability during the COVID-19, right? When there was a large scale of resources, lack of resources for bed availability, and it was not managed properly. There were several patients who just couldn't make it because they didn't have the bed available, right? And it's not just about the clinical aspect of it. It's also about the management and administrative part of it, where healthcare is providing real-time decision making. The technologies that we use as like the the machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing. The edge computing is taking a leap, and especially in the healthcare. The predictive analytics has always been there, but with AI, there's a faster research in analytics, and the cloud infrastructure is improving the speed at which we provide these solutions, right? So, well, if you look at this umbrella of AI in real-time healthcare tech, you see different technologies that are being used in different ways. Um, One such thing I'll be talking about is the natural language processing, where kind of Hirsch touched it a bit in the previous talk is, right, you provide a query and it gives you an answer, and it's a conversational, right? And you, it's not just gives you results, it's actually customizes that for you, right? The same thing, right? Whenever the healthcare professional is using AI, it's not just providing one solution, it provides like multiple customized solution for a patient using the natural language processing. And one of the things that taking a lot of time from the healthcare professionals is the way they document it. The doctor writes the notes or voice records it, after the patient visit is done. Sometimes that never makes it to the records, right? Because it's in a voice note or it's a handwritten note on a paper. With the AI, you can feed those data into the system and actually make it useful for uh, tracking the history of the patient. We talked about the management part of it. We talked about the administrative part of it. Some of the different aspects where clinical in the clinical sector is especially in healthcare is like medical diagnosis. We have seen AI tools develop to scan the images of like different varieties and come up with a saying, okay, whether this patient is actually having a disease or not. Like in one scenario was to detect the cancer, they took the history of radiology records, compare it with the actual patient, and found out that it was very accurate to detecting whether the patient is in healthcare um, uh, is actually having the symptom of um, uh, the cancer or the disease. Like in this case, it's a cancer disease that was done, right? So to make it like very simple, right? The way the healthcare is um, improving these situations, right? Like in the healthcare tech is actually a game changer, and this is the future where whenever the next pandemic hits, we are ready for to tackle all this. Um, and then there are multiple companies that are investing in healthcare and investing in, especially in the personalized medicine. Um, it's not just about providing a solution which is generic for a large crowd, but using the patient medical records, using the genetic data, using the trial, the clinical trials that are done, and research literature that is there. Use all those different variety of sources of data as your reference data, and providing a customized solution at a large scale in a quick manner is the way to go to improve the healthcare, right? So we have seen like there are a lot of research papers that go unread or unnoticed, right? And nobody goes back and looks at it. With the AI, you can actually read those medical literature and make it useful. And this is one example that I mentioned before was like how bed management was an issue during COVID-19. In one such instance, Mount Sinai, there's an hospital in New York. They collaborated quickly with an IT company, and they were able to somehow manage their hospital requirement of bed availability using the technology at a very short time. Right? Even then, that was not enough. We have seen piles of dead bodies in the black trash bags in the New York hospitals, right? In other hospitals across the country, but This one example showed some glimmer of hope that, okay, you can use technology to improve these situations. Mm, the main thing that I mentioned in my earlier talk was the speed and accuracy. The speed is always there with cloud computing and scalable infrastructure that is there. The accuracy is something that is still ongoing, where you have to continuously improve your systems, improve um, the research in the healthcare to provide better outputs using the technology, and always have the human in the loop concept, with doctors always ready to chime in and provide their research and provide their inputs during building those systems that will help improve the healthcare overall. Right? Data security, algorithmic bias, integration issues, and transparency and trust, right? So some of the challenges of one by one, we can go and look at it. Data security is important because there's a lot of, with healthcare, there's a lot of PHI and PII data, especially in the West, where HIPAA compliance and GDPR compliance is really important. So something we, there's a challenge that we'll have to come up with a solution that is much more secure. Um, One of the solutions that healthcare techs are doing is the edge intelligence, where the data doesn't get transferred to the cloud or to a central database or data repository. It's more on saved on the local space in the device that a patient is using. That's kind of solving a problem a bit, and integration issues where adoption of AI in healthcare tech is a problem. Like the nurses and administrative staff are kind of repellent to an extent in the East and Middle East, where they're still um, sticking to the old ways. That's changing, and that's going to be a game changer as they adopt. Right, we have to build that trust with the administrative staff so that they use this and make it much more beneficial. Transparency and trust. We'll have to work closely with the doctors, keep them in the loop while building these applications, and also work closely with the researchers who have provided their research and analysis over the years, and build that trust so that we can use these systems for our uh, for improving the healthcare. Um, Um, one example was, right, like I said, right, with using the wearable healthcare tech, um, we were able to detect the cardiac arrest even before it happened. The one such example was like Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. They um, were able to find out that the patient was able to have a heart attack 6 hours before it actually happened, using that AI-driven technology. Um, and it was a beta version where they were trying and testing, but it's a glimmer of hope for us, right? If something like that happens to our family members or loved ones, we definitely want to use our technology to see how quickly we can react. And I mentioned before as well, right? Like a doctor always say, like, if you had got this patient like 1 hour ago, 1 week ago, we'd have saved him, right? Like, and every second is important um, in healthcare, and speed is something that's already being taken into consideration while building these applications. Um, right, so we'll have to keep improving our systems and provide more accuracy and build that trust to use it efficiently. Um, that's just a simple example of how a simple architecture would work. Um, I would focus more on the source of data, like the different sources that we like: diagnosis, prevention, outcomes, screening records, treatment of diseases, and the disease management records that we get. Yeah. So, going going ahead, I think the future of AI, is always there, and especially in healthcare tech, it's going to improve the healthcare overall, and also provide healthcare solutions to the people um, who are not reachable, especially in the rural areas, in the east. where the healthcare is scarcely available, AI is going to be the game changer. I think that's all I had for today. Uh, any questions?
So it seems there are no questions at this moment. Thank you, Mr. Abrar.